In Norfolk, just to give you an example, Lieutenant Governor Dick Davis, Marine, second wife is a prostitute. He loved her very much. She had a wig salon. My uncle, Dr. George Bentley Byrd, was the major obstetrician for everybody in Norfolk, prostitutes, everybody. He told, our whole family knows, you know, who the prostitutes are, who goes to the Saint and Sinners banquet, or, you know, Saints and Sinners group, the sleep-around group or whatever, you know, the group who tolerates it and has a little fun. And they're all, you know, they're all guys. Well, okay. But the thing is, where is it going to lead? I don't know whether I'm describing it. When you target good, strong people who know what to do or who can figure out quickly what to do in given situations, it's like a targeting good people, taking their papers, going into the leaders' houses. The leaders who pop up, who are trying to get things straight, are the ones who really know what's going on. They're just the people who need to be involved in the process. They've got to have credibility. What's happening now and why they're all afraid is they have no credibility. The SEALs are the worst. They were so afraid about that one little doctor that the SEALs gang raped in Norfolk. Why? Because the whole credibility of the SEALs is shot. Yes.
By a group of SEALs?
Oh, yeah, in Virginia Beach. And
when did this occur?
Oh, 2 years ago. And the interesting thing is that the parents of this girl, she's beautiful, from Georgia. You know, this is a wonderful human being who went into what used to be Poppy's. It's kind of the night place in Virginia Beach. When I was single, I went there, you know, I mean, we would go there, four of us women, young women, Molly and Sally and myself, and we'd go there, and the doctors would go there. You know, it was kind of a place. Well, the SEALs are taking over Virginia Beach. SEAL Team 4, 6, and 8. And this gal went in there. One of the men just thought, oh, she's great, let's take her out. They took her out, raped her, killed her.
Goodness.
Strangled her. I don't really know what happened because it's been hushed up by the local courts who are controlled by Army JAGs and Marine Corps, Judge Advocate General. And these are guys all who have been involved in their wives have been handled, gotten rid of their first wife. They're sleeping around with another bimbo woman or another man. They're participating in group sex. C. Lyden Harrell is one. There are lots of them. He is a man who was, now I'm not anti-Mason, but I have suspicions about Masons. Some of the things that they do in the darkened rooms, and I've been told, yeah. But I know that he sabotaged me in my case. Who's going to help me fight this thing? Because I've got photographs of being battered. I've got doctors' signatures. Sarah McClendon, the senior White House correspondent, has an affidavit where she tried to call my house. And a man answered the phone and said, this is a military base, and the Griggses don't live there anymore. Now, Sarah McClendon could not even get through to my house. For 2 months, she had to go to another phone just to call me. So I knew that all these other people I'd called in Washington were trying to call me, and the calls were being rerouted. Now that is in this book. This I found in Goodwill. And so I shouldn't mention this because they're going to go now start calling Goodwill, but all the intelligence divorces, there are a lot of divorces going on. The wives will throw out their husbands' books, or the husbands will throw them out. They're mad at the government. But, you know, I found, that's why they've been raiding my library. The book is called Intelligence and Electronic Warfare Operations.
Okay.
Now, this book is all about what happened to me. Army, Air Force, Marine Corps. Where is the FBI Psychological Operations Unit, Quantico, Marine Corps base. The only FBI agent who came to me, who was allowed to come to me, was Dan McNally, 20-year Marine. Homosexual, I believe. I'm pretty sure he is, because you know, and I'm not saying that he's a bad person, but I am saying that I was not allowed by any other FBI to have any other FBI agent come and hear about the break-ins to my home, the battering that I went through, nearly killed, the murder of my husband's first wife, serious business. She's in a grave, Suzanne Workman Griggs. She died on April Fool's Day, 1987. And the doctor wanted to do an autopsy. Couldn't do it, because the two men who were doctors in that hospital, Dr. Lawrence Smith and Jean Lamb, Army officers. They owe their life to this. Of course they take orders. The judge in my case, Judge John Moore, his first wife was put away because she was telling truth. And I found out from Carrie Brown, who's an Army officer who had a Purple Heart, who told me exactly what she told him. Now, he's the judge in my case. Across the street from me lives another judge, Judge Jefferson Davis Reed, Naval Intelligence. He found my suitcase in the woods. I've known his family since the beginning of time. His sister, Martha Ann Reed Ellis, is married to one of these intelligence guys, Tim Ellis, and divorced. He's now with the federal, he's a federal judge. His mother, her family are intelligence people, not Americans. Tim's mother, they're not Americans. He's a naval officer, taking orders. What are all these judges in being under a chain of command? And why are they attacking the mothers and the women who are telling truth? And why are they breaking into honorable people's houses, ministers, and so forth, using these electronic warfare tactics? Diverting phones, downloading caller IDs, having bogus people answer the phone. In other words, instead of getting this person at that number, they get somebody else. For example, I called in an emergency, I called the state police. And I'm pretty smart, pretty discerning, and I wound up talking to a guy who worked for the ATF. And I said, oh, well, what are you doing in the state police office? He said, oh, I'm just a retired ATF guy. And I said, well, but I thought I was calling the state police office. He said, well, you're talking to me now. What can I do for you? I said, well, if you're retired, I want to talk to an active duty, a good guy from the state police, please. And I said, by the way, I don't like you ATF guys because of what you did at Waco. You all murdered innocent women and children. You ran over them, you shot them, you put tanks on them, and you killed them. You're murderers. I don't want to talk to you. He hung up on me. He didn't like what I said. Well, if he's so sensitive and so defensive, how can he deal with women if he can't cope with truth? This is what, 80% of the American people feel, or 90%. Waco was murder, savage, brutal murder. And what they did to that man, Randy Weaver's wife.
Yeah.
Shooting a mother with a baby in her arms. What's going on here?
Right.
Yeah. And one woman hears that, one mother hears that. She doesn't like the ATF anymore. I don't know any woman who likes the SEALs anymore. I don't know any other mother who really likes the ATF anymore. I mean, what's going on here? We're mothers. This is stuff that went on in Germany, and fear tactics. So we say, heck, these guys are adolescents. You know, they're adolescents. And so who's running them? Who's in charge? We turn into Dorothy, the Wizard of Oz. What's going on here?
Mm-hmm.
So little old mothers like us, we all think alike, and we're all Dorothys now, just marching and saying, look guys, what's going on here? You're all little men from Oz, why don't you grow up?
Mm-hmm.
You know? A man named Mr. Lee, who is an intelligence officer in Norfolk. Mr. Lee is the son of the major banker for the Russian government. He is he worked for Dr. Richard Chang, who's also an intelligence operative. I believe he's an honorable guy. He's tall, he's sort of a Princeton, Harvard-looking guy. I believe he's honest.
Okay.
He came to Virginia Beach, and I was putting together sister city organizations, and I was trying to get the leaders of all the different ethnic groups in Norfolk to sort of start a sister city program globally, you know.
Mm-hmm.
It's easy to do that, but I didn't understand how the intelligence community worked at that point. I knew things were going on, and he was bringing together all these potential sister cities in China. Our State Department had opened up cities which had independent